Hello, thanks for joining us for another Sunday, another episode of the Pat and Go Show. My name is Matt Lasker, joined today by Mike Hardwick. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, hey, hey.
All right. Everyone's probably getting just watching the end of the Seattle game. But first, again, thank you for joining us for the Pat and Show Go. You know, we do everything here all around youth and middle school football. So if you do coach middle school youth football, you are in the right place. We try to put a modern spin on it. Obviously, this show was created within and around the air raid system for middle school, but we've found that there is a ton of youth coaches out there running air raid now with success. And we also want to try to expand things. So in today's episode, Mike's joined us, and you know Mike, he's a regular contributor, so he's here on the panel most days anyway. But we really want to get into some defense a little bit today, and really start talking about how to go about ensuring that your team is doing the basic fundamentals right. If you can't block and you can't tackle, Mike, I don't care what you're doing. You better be able to do those two things, and tackling is right up there with anything else.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, you were talking. I think you started the show about parents and parent contact and all those types of things. And I think this actually kind of goes with that as well. Youth, middle school parents are wanting to. They probably ask you a couple of things. What kind of equipment do you have? What kind of helmets do you have? And we get, how do you teach tackling? So those safety things are things I think you talked about a month or so ago when you had it. It's kind of one that goes over into winning over the parents. And this is one of those things you might not think about, but I think it goes a long way. If you have some type of system, it goes a long way for some of those mothers when they see, when they see those big kids out there hitting their babies. If you have a system to teach tackling and can explain it and kind of go to some sites and show it to them, I think it not only makes your program better and teaches your kids, but it also is a good representation of your program. And I think we'll probably win some parents over.
Absolutely, and it's all to your point. If there's a system behind it, right? We're not just piecing together tackling because we're focused only on offense. You need to systematically set your team up just like you would before the season with here's my install for offense. You got to have the same concepts and the same mindset for defense. And parents, absolutely.
Let's go do the Oklahoma. I mean, so yeah.
Exactly. Those days are over. You can't just line them up and on defense they just do tackling drill after tackling drill just to prove how tough you are. That's not football anymore. So great. So let's get into that. But first, Mike, I want to talk to you because you're right in the heart of Mississippi. It was a big weekend for college football. It's a big weekend for the air raid, and not just Mississippi State. But let's start there because I think that's what everyone is kind of freaking out about this weekend. Can you run air raid in the SEC? Was Kentucky an aberration back in the day when Leach got there? I think you're seeing right now that you sure can. What do you think, Mike? You're right in the heart of it. What's the temperature down there?
Oh, you're setting me up. I thank you for that. Well, I guess you just ask Ed Ortron today, what he thinks if you can run the air raid. But yeah, of course, I graduated from Mississippi State, so yeah, that was great to see. And we were talking off the show, and some of you air raid guys that are on here tonight, if you've done it for a little bit of time. Matt and I were talking about where we both were blown up during the game where our kids were texting us going, hey, those are some of our plays that we're doing. And, some of those quick game stuff, it's exactly some of the same stuff Matt's got on his content, on his page, some stuff that I've gone over with some coaches and on Matt's show that are there. Some of the exact same things that were working against LSU, which is, they say they're DB, defensive back U. So,
and
they stayed most of the game in doubles. They went in little trips, but they stayed most of the game in doubles and ace formation and did their stuff. I mean,
Yeah. They were meshing them to death, shallow to death. I mean, quick screen to death, and it was just clinic. They weren't being sneaky about it. They were just lining up and running wide corner and running stick and just mesh. I mean, I don't know. I know they run mesh a lot over there, but it seemed like they had something in the game plan for that, because it was just over and over and over.
Or they do the high-low out of trips, and they bring the trips receiver over on the low and do the clear out. He was open time after time after time. Yeah, just good stuff, and the same stuff that we do in 7th and 8th grade. Some of you guys are doing it 5th and 6th grade. Some of the same basic plays. It's the same stuff that he's doing. And Matt set me up again a couple of times. A quick side story for you guys. I do not know Mike Leach, don't know him at all, but the guy that taught me the air raid at Oxford, I work at Oxford Middle School in Oxford, Mississippi. And the guy that taught me the air raid came from Alabama, and he had been to Mike Leach's spring practice for like 8 or 10 years in a row and got to know Mike Leach. And one spring, that's all they did. They ran the verts in every formation possible. That's all they did during their team stuff. Empty, trips, ace, early, and he said another spring, the only thing that they did in team, and he said, I watched it, they did mesh, again, early, trips, late, empty, all the different ways to do it. And that's how he sort of refined all the stuff through the years. It has changed a little bit. So there's a lot of different versions of those out there where it's slightly different. We're all using different versions of it. But anyway, so he's a little different, and he's not for everybody, but he is, he knows how to pass the ball, and he also knows how to protect as well. And I know some guys posted on your thing earlier today about, they're really having trouble with pass protection, and that's probably another great show of how to teach, pass protection, particularly if you're trying to, throw it more than 3 or 4 times a game. I mean, that's something that's a big part of your practice plan as well. And we probably haven't talked about that as well, but that's another great show sometimes.
Yeah, no, and that's right. And I've, that was my biggest concern going into it last year. And even when it was happening, I mean, it happens to all of us. You go through games, and especially early in the season, where you feel like there's zero, you don't even have 3 seconds. And so you just got to figure out ways to keep your quarterback calm. But I admittedly did not game plan my practices last year for O-line like I did this year, now that I've gotten with Shane Dular. And so you guys that were asking about how to get the pass pro right, I would encourage you, I'll put it in the chat later on this show, to go back and watch the 2 videos I did with Shane Dular about, number 1, the drills he uses, his everyday drills. COVID's been a blessing for me, because I've been able to run these camps on the side and literally do his daily everyday drills with my linemen for next season every day for the last month. I mean, literally every day. And it's not only allowed them to learn the opposite pressure and the drills that Dular is so good at, but it allowed me as a coach to practice them before we get to a legitimate live season. I've never taught them. I feel confident now. I probably wouldn't have as much. So yes, definitely go watch those 2 videos. He has a bunch of great content on there. But yeah, I mean, it's just something, just like passing the ball, guys. Like, it's not going to come right away. There's going to be some hiccups, and there's going to be some ups and downs, but if you can get them in the right position, and a lot of those films that, I don't know if you watched those, Mike, this week, a couple of those ones that people posted about the O-line, you could tell that some of those linemen didn't know who to block. They were standing in place looking around, right? So number 1, lined up, make it easy. I mean, we're just doing big on big. They got the guy in front of them, right? And if they don't, then we can put in a rule that the center slides over and helps whatever way. But it's mostly for us, it's 5 on 5 anyway, because they usually have 5 D linemen. So, to get them lined up, let them know who to block. And then if you can start using those Dular drills every day while you guys are warming up, O-line's doing what they're doing.
Very good. We use one of those too as well. Yeah, he is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's definitely the tough part. It's just, it comes when it comes, but it's just something you got to invest in. It's not going to.
Yeah, that sets us up for the stack. That's another reason of the stack, because it is a little unusual looking. You don't see that a lot, and it. I won't say it creates pass protection problems, but you have to have a plan on how to pass protect it. We might get into that just a bit.
Right, exactly. And Todd, I'm going to put this if you have any specific questions, Todd's out there asking about past pro drills. I definitely would love to answer them live because I think talking through things is the best way to do it, honestly, just so we can get into specifics to help you doing whatever it is specific you want to do. So let's talk about that. First, though, I want to welcome in, Mike, before we get to defense, Coach Kile from Pennsylvania. We haven't been able to catch up with him for a few weeks. We're dying to do that. So, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, Coach?
Good, man. Great to see you and hear your voice. Everything going well out in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's going good. Last time I came on, I was telling you guys about the potential of starting.
Yeah, exactly.
And, in between talking to you and actually getting the go-ahead, we had a couple hiccups going back and forth with the PIAA, which is the sanctioning body out here in Pennsylvania, and the governor. Long story short, we started. So we're on week 3, going into week 3 right now. So like I said, we've been doing we were doing summer voluntary workouts with the kids the whole time in anticipation for it, and it kind of hit the ball running. There's a slightly different schedule. Our varsity usually plays 10 games. Now it's down to, I believe, 7. They put together 7 games for the junior high, which is pretty much what we get normally. So
nice.
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling. So far, so good.
Okay, so I'm gonna start asking you about what's working, what's not working. Let's just reset with everyone. You're in Pennsylvania. You coach a junior high team. Is it just like Mike's, where it's 7th and 8th grade together, 6th, 7th, and 8th? How does that work for you guys again?
Well, yeah. We mostly play small school ball, so I think our graduating classes out here are in the 30 to 50 student range.
Wow.
So it's a mostly rural league.
Cool.
And there's 6 classifications in Pennsylvania, single A through 6A, and we're single A. And most of the teams that we play up here are. So to answer your question, the long way to answer your question, we have 7th and 8th graders, but then many teams will throw in 9th graders too.
Oh.
So there's a mix.
And how does that work? That's just like if they're not getting playing time up there, or if they're just didn't play in high school, like.
I think it's dependent on each program kind of makes their puts their kids down for the needs that fits the best. And usually if you see a 9th grader down there at the junior high level, there'll be somebody that's kind of small or undersized, or we kind of get lost in the mix at the varsity level, at least for a year. Sometimes. So
right.
Other
every week it's just one game every week. When you guys play, do y'all play like a dead ball game or anything to let everybody play, or is it just a one regulation game? And how many minutes is that, if you don't mind my asking?
So we have 8-minute quarters.
Okay, so you'll have one 8-minute quarter regulation game each week. Yep.
Thursday nights. Yep. And then after the game, if the teams are big enough and have a what they call out here a 7th grade team, we'll play like a B game. So it's like A and B.
Cool.
Right. That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
And so this year was going to be, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember, this was going to be your first year running air raid, or did you guys start to dabble in it a little bit?
No,
before?
It is. It's definitely our first year. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's right. And we have Nate Hanks, right? That's the high school coach that you're associated with.
Yep.
That he runs. Okay, cool. And he runs a high school team.
Yep.
Awesome. Great. And so you guys are both running air raid from what it sounded like.
Yeah. He did a lot of the legwork in the summer back when I got hired. This is my first year out here with all the COVID stuff happening. And, so we came in and they were looking for some answers for some questions that they had on offense, and he did a lot of the research and had a lot of the contacts already. So when I got on board, they were already well working on this. And I just kind of said, because my big philosophy is if I come into these systems, I'm going to run whatever the varsity does, and that doesn't always happen, which I think is a huge detriment to any program.
100%.
But so I said, hey, whatever you guys do. So I didn't know, I used some air raid concepts in other schools that I coached, but nothing like full bore. And he was he was all about full bore going, and he got the he went out and got air raid certified and all that stuff. So he kind of is our local resident expert about the X's and O's stuff for the air raid. So yeah, we kind of sat together back in June, and then I started getting online and looking for information, and I came across you back in June. And yeah, I mean, that's when I started touching base with you, and here we are.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited you get to play, man. I'm a little jealous, but I will live vicariously happily through it.
Yeah.
So cool. So then now here it is. We've maybe a weird camp. What kind of training camp did you get? Like your full 3-4 week training camp, or did you have to do some things different that you wouldn't have had to worry about with COVID? Or
no, it was we have a lot of extra paperwork in place, and thank God I had a little bit of experience with being the head coach at a system like this. So I came in and yeah, I mean, the paperwork is tripled, so we have to like test the kids' temperatures and take care of all that noise stuff, I call it, right? Like before we get on the football field. But yeah, I mean, once that is all taken care of, we got a full camp in. Nice. We started summer workouts, and especially because it was a new system, I think we started our voluntary workouts back in June 22nd. So nice. we were rocking and rolling with the junior high kids. I gave them 1 day a week. So we had, I really, your information online was invaluable. So I took your installs and this was even after talking to you, because you were actually making up that whole system and that page when I first met you. So yeah, you did that, and I watched it, and I took basically, football coaching isn't reinventing the wheel. It's kind of finding somebody else's wheel. You know what I mean? So
100%. That's not my wheel. I take it from a bunch of other people. So I'm glad it helped. That's all we were trying to do, is just package it in a way where it'd be one place where you can get it all, right? Like that.
Yeah, man, it was great. So we came into those summer workouts, and I had the whole quick game in, I had the whole drop back game in, and I had two out of the 3 runs that we picked, because I stayed with three for each, like you do.
Good.
And we had the screens in, and we just did again. So basically, camp was a review. And some of the kids, since it was voluntary, some of the kids didn't show up. So got the full team there and started going. And really by day 4, we were ready to play football. So it was.
Love it.
Yeah, it was a lot of review time. So by the time we were ready to go and actually play a game, we knew it pretty good.
Beautiful. So let's get to it, man. The games start. How'd it go? You're 3 games in. You said you're going into your 3rd game this week.
Yeah, we're going into our 3rd week, and we're 1-1. So our first game was great, man. I mean, it was great. We have a really young crew. So every single one of my skills kids are young 7th graders. It's their first experience at the junior high level, and that's a big jump, because like junior high. Especially when you put like 9th graders in the mix, like they do out here in PA sometimes. That's the disparity in size and maturity between a 7th grader and a 9th grader, or even an 8th grader, is paramount. Like these kids could get 4 or 5 inches and gain 30 pounds between their 7th and 8th grade year. So literally,
I think that's the year that
I have little kids running around at my skills positions, but man, they are loving it. So.
Yeah, and you know what? Not to get too far in the future, because you are playing for now. You're here to play for now, and probably there's not a better offense to take 7th graders into battle when you're outsized and skilled. I mean, maybe they're probably a little faster 8th grade too, right? But I mean, you got the right battle plan for sure to go against maybe a physically superior opponent if you run into that. So that's awesome. And so the first game, like what kind of plays did you guys run? What kind of success, or what did you have success with, I should say?
The first game we played a team that was a lot bigger than us, very rural. It was about an hour and a half away, and they're at least we call them big country boys out here, so they like to hit and get physical and stuff. So the inside runs, I put in our runs are I kept your GT counter, which works great, by the way. If we can walk. So
yeah, exactly.
But if you got kids who are oversized, sometimes that becomes a difficult. But so I have I have the draw, sweep, right, and I have the GT counter. So those are my 3 basic runs. And every once in a while, I haven't done it in a game yet, but I kind of have been messing around with jet a little bit. I'm trying to put my own little wrinkle into some of the offensive packages. That didn't really work in this game. We got a couple yards here or there on draw, and they had a couple good guys on the edges that were kind of overpowering our tackles. So we ended up doing quick screens, man, and we were lighting them up. It was one of the craziest games I've ever been involved in. I've played football and been around football most of my life. We were up 20-0 on the team at halftime. Now, a little bit of backstory. This football team that we went up to play has been pretty much dogging us for the last 5 or 6 years. Bigger kids, really, just taking the wood to them, kind of. And none of these games have been close, from what I've been told. So we went there, and with a bunch of young kids, and we put a 20 burger up on them by halftime, and it was like the Super Bowl. They loved it, and it was literally we ran nothing but Randy, Larry, Rita, Lita. That was it. And they did not just get the outside. The kids were making some bad cuts here and there. They could have got a couple extra yards if they bounced it outside as opposed to inside. All that small stuff you got to fix. But yeah, man. I mean, if we would have stopped that game at halftime, we would have been Super Bowl champs, But
that's awesome.
So then they were all excited. It was the first time that ever happened to them. And like I said, this is a program that we're building. And so we came out after halftime, and those guys on the other team decided that they were going to, kind of reel in the reins a little bit and basically just do student body left and rights on us. And they got pretty good chunks of yardage back on us, so they ended up scoring. Then I wouldn't say the wheels came off, but we stopped tackling and making all those mistakes that junior high kids make, and ended up losing 30-26 with a last-second touchdown. Yeah, so that was pretty rough. But the kids were excited, man. I mean, I kind of went through and initiated some film review with them when we talked about some things and how to close out and finish games and stuff like that. And it's crazy how when kids are like at that age, when they're bought into a system, how you'll get the response by listen. They love film. Every single one of my kids is signed up and uses Huddle at least track their hours. You know what I mean? So they're using it at least 3 hours a week.
Nice. Looking
at the film and stuff. So yeah, we just hit the ground running. Didn't really change anything. Just said, hey guys, trust the system because it's good. It's going to get you guys where you need to go. And yeah, so hit the ground running back there on practice for the week 2, and came out and just basically didn't do anything different. Just ran our offense, and everything came together last week. So I'm curious to see how it works out in week 3.
Yeah, great. How many points did you put up in week 2 in the win?
42.
Woo!
Yeah. Nice.
More quick screens, or did you guys any other plays that stood out?
What's that?
Any other plays that stood out on week 2? I'm assuming you did more quick screens. It sounds like, and
yeah, we did a couple Randy Larrys, but our run game on week 2. I mean, I kind of set the challenge for the offensive line to kind of man up in week 1, and I'm starting to keep stats now for the kids because they're all in it and they love it. So I never really did that at the junior high level before, but I've been doing it for these guys, and I kind of told them set the challenge for the other line, and they did. So we kind of split. We obviously had a lot more passing than run, but Yeah, I mean, we really, like, our running back got a lot of huge runs that kind of opened it up, and the linemen were hat on a hat and driving their feet and all that stuff you want junior high kids doing. But so yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh,
we ended up putting up 42 points on them, and they scored 8. So it
nice.
was right at the end when we took out all of our guys. And so everybody got to play, everybody was happy, and all was right with the world. So now we'll see what we get for week 3.
That's awesome, Crow. Congrats, man. That's so cool. I'm so excited to hear the success so far, and you know, even if you do lose one, you know, that's just all learning for them. You're building a beast then if you got 7th graders at the helm right now and you got a whole nother year with them. So,
Yep.
you know, that's great, and that's a testament to your coaching. So great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my 7th grade quarterback. Yeah, every single one of the skills kids are 7th graders.
Wow,
And we
that's
have a
awesome.
couple of 8th grade offensive linemen, and that's our football team. But he's putting up some pretty good stats coming from a system. I think one of the assistant coaches was there from years past, and he's like, man, we already scored more points in week 2 than we did all year for the last 3 years. So they love it.
What did they do last year? What offense did they run? If you don't mind my asking.
It was the varsity ran kind of like a hybrid spread, but the junior high didn't. It was all student body left right, run basically run heavy. Yeah, they never really had a quarterback that can throw, but I put we put a lot of work into this quarterback, and he got an arm for a 7th grader for this area.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I would never discount the stat taking piece of it. When I started doing that this last year on Huddle, and you know, you just do it as a part of your film review. Like you're in there anyway as a coach watching film. You might as well put in the formations. You might as well put in what play it was. You might as well put in the stats behind it. And dude, the kids would go in there, and after about half the season, I wasn't doing defensive tackles. I was like, I didn't even think about it, right? I was just doing offensive stats. And the kids were getting mad at me because I wasn't putting in the tackles, and I totally was sending the wrong message. But it drives them. It's modern football. It's modern data, right? Kids these days expect to have all that information at their fingertips, and now they get to be the ones behind the stats. So kudos to you, man. I think if you guys have the ability to get Huddle or whatever it is that you get, and you have the system set up, all you coaches out there, I would take the time to do it. It only is going to motivate your team, your players more. All right, Coach. Anything that has not worked that you are surprised about? Any lessons learned on that side of it, besides all the positives? So I want to be realistic and see if there's anything that you wish you had done differently, or just curious.
No, I mean I'm still kind of learning this system too. So really, besides not finishing on defense, the only mistake that was made as far as the offense is concerned came from me. I mean, and that was on that first game. We were completely dogging them with Randy and Larry, and then I put in the Foxes. So and that's huge at junior high. And these kids were so wide open, nobody within 20 yards of them, because they haven't really seen that kind of stuff before. And I ran, ironically, this is just the me play calling. Like I was overestimating the defense's ability to make adjustments. And we hit them with a Randy on the right side and then Randy Fox. And it was wide open, but the kid just incomplete, just threw it over him a little bit. So I went right back to the other side and did a Larry. And by that time, it was like probably the 17th screen we threw on them. So there, and I'm like, well, they just saw that Fox on this side. So, it's Madden, you're a coach, you overthink everything. So I'm like, well, I'm going to try and do it. I think it's going to be there, but I'm going to set it up on the other side first. Well, I did, and they ended up running that Larry and ended up getting it picked off. But that was pretty much it. That was just a play call. Quarterback comes off. He's a little upset. I'm like, hey, man, that's on me. I should have just went with it on that side. But there wasn't – I mean, there isn't much that hasn't been working at one point or another with just 2 games in. And this offense is so defense specific. You know what I mean? So whatever they're throwing at you, you can make adjustments to it. And so I mean, if something isn't working, something will be. So.
Right. No, I love it. I love it. And just curious, Coach, have you this part in your evolution? Are you guys huddling? No huddle?
No huddle.
No huddle?
Yeah, we are going. I in camp, I kind of got the stopwatch out, and it was a little, aggressive with it, but I got them running plays for every 14 seconds, and they were running them pretty fluid. So we know huddle. I actually came up with it, and I didn't make it up, but I started thinking about, hey, what would be a good way to call plays for these guys to get the buy-in, and all that stuff. So we actually went with play cards, like the big pictures that you see on the colleges.
Yeah.
So we do that. Yeah, we do that, and the kids love it, and we can go really fast.
That's awesome. Someone just asked you about it. So just as a note for all you guys at home watching.
Tempo gives you the ability to take a big, strong guy and drag him to the deep end of the pool and drown him.
That's one of my favorite clips from Coach Salas. So I'm going to use that thing every time we talk tempo because I just love it so much. Coach, your buddy's chiming in that the future is bright in Montgomery. That's where you are, Montgomery, Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Nathan Hanks. So yeah, man, we appreciate you stopping by and sharing with us. You don't have any films, are you guys recording these games?
No, not yet. Well, we've just been downloading the stuff to Huddle right now. So my film is pretty limited.
Okay.
Right now.
All right. Well, if you ever want help doing that, let me know. I'm more than happy to get it going and helping you because we love watching film, and it sounds like you're putting up points and running the same stuff that we're running. So, Coach,
for sure.
thanks for jumping in. Hey, anytime you have an update, please come in. Feel free. We're gonna always try to kick off these shows, hearing what's going on out there in the world. So, thanks for coming in and sharing a little bit what's going on up there, and congrats on all the success, Coach.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I will. I watch the show every week, even though I hop on YouTube and watch it, even though I don't come in. So I'll definitely provide you updates as we go along here. We'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, good things are happening so far.
Absolutely, Coach. And Joe Salas is in the house. Hey, Coach Joe. I hope you don't mind me using your face and video and audio. I just love that clip so much. Hey, just want to welcome in 2 more people to the show. David Hunter's here, and of course, my co-host, Basile. How's it going, guys?
Doing well.
So much.
What's
Great
up,
to see you
Coach?
guys. You guys watched the end of that Seahawks-Dallas game? You guys see it?
No, I was getting texts about it, man, but I actually had a coaches meeting that ran over, so I kept hearing about it. Everybody hates the Cowboys, so everybody loves them.
I know, exactly. We can all agree on a couple things, I think, across the country, and not liking the Cowboys is one of them, I think.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. So David's here. Of course, everyone knows David Hunter, youth coach, running Air Raid down in Tennessee. We haven't been able to catch up with David. I know I was never planning on doing this show and creating content during the season, but it's been such a crazy year that I don't have anything to do. So I'm going to keep bugging you guys to keep coming on the show and sharing your stuff. So David wanted to catch up with you because you guys have had a few games. How many games are you guys in now?
So we just did our 3rd game yesterday. And so we're 3-0 on the year. And really we're kind of surprised. So in our league, it's a little different. You can play middle school football, and when the middle school season's over, you can come join our team. So I sent all of my kids that could play middle school to middle school. So we were just hoping to be at 500 after week 4 because they started before us. So we're like, if we can just be at 500, make the playoffs, we'll be fine. So we're like, oh God, we really overcompensated taking on kids because we got like 8 middle schoolers that are going to show up and they're all starters. Like, oh
That's awesome.
It'll be fun. It'll be great. It'll be like, yeah. So we're like, okay, well, and no one scored a point on us yet. And so we're like, and Saturday we just played the team I came from. So that was very fun, but also kind of dramatic because they wanted to beat me. We beat them. Yeah. They knew everything I was going to do, because I don't change what I call. So when I yelled NASCAR, they're like, it's the same play. And I'm like, good, stop it. We got 8 yards. All right, cool. They did a better job, because I had taught those kids it's the triangle. I saw someone today explain it as the triangle offense in the quick game. There's just the 3 zones, read grass. So they did a good job of bumping a linebacker out and take stick, sitting in the corner and, trying to take away the swing. And so they did. They forced us to run the ball a lot more than I ever. It's the first game probably since 7U that I've only completed 1 pass in a game. So we had to run, and we ran jet and dart all day long. And I wish we filmed. I'm trying to find out if someone filmed the game because our running back won the game by running 4 people over, and their coach was so mad. And I could hear him on the sideline yelling, all right, you just got highlighted. You're a highlight now. I told you if y'all tackle him high, you're going to be a highlight. Tackle his legs. You got highlighted. And he coached with me postseason, and I coached with him last year. So he knew what we had and what we were going to do. And honestly, their game plan was to grind the clock out, and that's not their style of play. So we only had 1 possession in the first half.
Woo.
Yeah. And
that's
it was 0-0 at halftime, and our kids were furious. And, we went out there that first drive, and I think we got a first down, and then we got an intentional grounding, which my quarterback threw the opposite side of the swing route out of bounds. So it was intentional grounding. He's like, I just forgot which side he went to and panicked. I was like, it's okay. I don't care. I was like, but how do you throw the ball away? I was like, you throw it in the ground, bounce pass style. I was like, you do not throw. I got that from you, Mike. I was like, you do not throw the ball in the air. So I was like, worst case scenario, if you throw it at a defender's foot, it's a lot more less likely that he's going to call intentional grounding at a youth football game. I was like, it's hard. Just telling you, when you throw it out of bounds 20 feet, a bomb 40 yards over the sideline, over the fence, they're looking for intentional grounding. But
it just looks bad. So this team that you coached last year that you played, they're not doing air raid this year. They're doing other stuff.
Yes. The defensive coach stayed. The head coach there now. He is, he's been coaching for years, and he runs a traditional kind of power. I don't really know. It's toss sweep, right? It's off tackle ISO, and it's fake the toss sweep, hit the wing back on a reverse.
Traditional ball stuff.
Yeah, and then he'll do, because they have my old quarterback that y'all guys saw that I showed the videos for last year. And the guy, I hope they don't see this, but he has regressed so much. It's horrible. He can't even throw a spiral anymore. It just shows, like, if you don't use it, and I'm like, gosh, this guy can throw dimes. And he attempted 3 passes, and we picked 6-1, but it got called back, and the other 2 we knocked down. And it's like, you're just wasting this kid. But whatever. His parents chose to stay. So, and I hope for his sake that they kind of will change and evolve. But to beat us, that's what they had to do. That was their best chance, was to play the slow clock game and keep the ball out of our hands. And it was a good game plan. It didn't work. They lost 12-0, but it was a good game plan. It's probably the best way to try to beat us. At least in our league, there's teams outside of our area that could probably come in here and, beat the brakes off of us. But, we're 6th graders. I have some film. I'll go through that whenever you want me to, because I'd like to talk about some of the stuff we did that in that first week. So how do I share my screen? Share screen. There it is.
Yeah. Cool. And while you're doing that, while we're filling the silence, we do want to remind everyone, David did, like you said, you jumped to a different. It's not schools, right? You're not involved with the
Correct.
school. It's
We're
like
not
league
in schools. It's a youth rec league team, and so this is the first year where we don't have 11U. So it goes. We have 5 through 10, and then it jumps to 11 and 12. So I'm
Yeah.
an 11U team playing against 12-year-olds. I have 2 12-year-olds on my team right now. All my other 12-year-olds are in middle school.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun. It's also been frustrating because they're like, I'm like, and I can't help it. I'm like, hey, guys, stop complaining.
Yeah.
You're losing to 6th graders. You're 7th and 8th graders. Like, calm down. You're,
And the great
you're
point-
13, and my kids are 11. Like, take your loss like a champ.
Totally. And the great point is what I'm trying to make for you is like, this was not, if you had just stayed where you were, you would have had a team that some of the kids would have heard the offense for a year, played in the offense for a year. You leaving and going to a new place, you had to start over with
Correct.
a whole new batch of kids that had never run air raid ever. And so I just want to make sure people know that.
Well, that's not totally true. I do have 4 people that have played for me before.
Okay.
And at some point,
What positions are they in?
Center. I took my old tight end and made him my Y. One wide receiver who was my backup wide receiver last year. He wanted to come with me because he was a great corner, but he never, he's like, if you don't throw me the ball, and that's more fun. And then the running back, he was a wide receiver a couple of years ago, and he was actually already on this team. And so when the coaching ability came up, he's a beast. And I was like, hey, I'll go there. At least I know I got one player. And then the rest, it was kind of mismatch players from different teams, contacting other coaches. Like I got the defensive coordinator. He brought a couple of kids from a team he was with before. And then we have a local youth group, kind of Facebook. So everybody kind of knows that I'm the air raid guy. And so a couple of people just kind of trickled in when they heard where I was going.
Nice.
So we did acquire some talent that I was not expecting to have.
Say I'll never apologize for having talent, man. It doesn't happen every year. So cool. Did you grab that screen?
I didn't. I was about to ask you if you can see it. I'm in full screen mode, so I might not be sharing.
So it doesn't.
I didn't select my screen. Hold on. Let me share and jump over here real fast.
There we go.
Got it now. All right.
We're in.
So let me see here. We should be on defense going to offense now. This was the first play of the game. My line is I have 3 people starting on my offensive line who have never played football before. One played flag, one I found playing basketball at the YMCA, and the other one was jumping rope in the parking lot. And somebody asked how old he was. He said 12, and he's 5'7", 230. He's a freak of nature. It was a blessing.
What's the Zebe doing right there?
Oh, calling the Raven. This play, he kills the play. Look, this kid's not looking. I got the block. We're running a quick screen, first play of the game, and they called a false start. I don't remember what they called the false start for, but yeah, I was like, it's wide open. He caught it. He's throwing it here, and we're gone.
Golly, how old are these kids, Coach?
These are 6th graders.
These are 6th graders.
Well, no,
I'm looking at that D line right there.
That D line. They're all 7th and 8th graders. They're 13. My kids are all 11.
Okay.
Well, one's 12, but yeah. That D line's huge. These you're about to see. It was a long day. These guys. This was their first game ever. This was a very tough lesson in football, but the first half was hard on us. They kind of settled down once they realized, okay, well, if we just die a slow death, we'll win. Coach is right. But you can see we're starting a 2-point set. 75 killed this guy. This is the kid that texted me after the game, after watching film, and was like, okay, I need help. He embarrassed me. I don't know what to do. And he looks like a completely different kid now. It's crazy, but he's a sponge. And luckily, my offensive line coach and best friend played at O-line at Ole Miss. So I don't really, I give him the do-lar stuff, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, look, if you want to do it different, I don't care as long as the results get done. If you want to make it your own, but this is what I want. This is what I want to do. How you teach it, I don't care as long as the results show up. And we go well together. I'm super passionate. I don't think I've ever heard the guy yell in his whole life. He's just calm, put your arm around you, and it's like, you're better than that. And, we found on our team, everybody responds either to me or to him. but we can pretty much between the two of us figure out which kids need to hear from which one of us. But so let's just go through the film here. They're going to wave this off, as you can tell. So this, I had scripted my first 8 plays, and the guy filming this jumps around a little bit, but I wanted to see how they lined up to stuff. So we normally start out in 2x2, and I move my Y around in my slot receivers. My L and my R never move. And so I believe my line's going to get blown up pretty big here. But we're switching over, I think, to late.
He's tight end. Jeez, he's tall.
That yeah.
Jeez.
His dad's the one that played at Ole Miss. All right, so that was supposed to be tackle wrap. That was trip, dart. They're supposed to read the numbers. He didn't read it right. Let's get it back here. Went too far. All right, so we're supposed to go 2 over 3. He should throw this and know I'm throwing this right now. I'm still working with him. He's played quarterback 3 years ago. He was a wide receiver, and kind of converted him to quarterback this year. He's super smart, but he sometimes gets a little nervous and just goes ahead and decides what he's going to do instead of reading it. 75. This lineman right here is going to get blown up, and it pretty much sets the play back. And so that didn't get off very well, but he should have just thrown it. So here he takes the swing, and the swing saved us. This is my running back, who is he really is a stud. We have 3 or 4 private schools like all coming to our games now trying to talk to him. Cameraman jumped. Here we are in green. He should have thrown this. I was mad at this kid for not coming out of the backfield properly. So we are in green, and the swing was there, but he trotted, and so he didn't throw the ball. And this kid is our corner. He could be a stud, but this is his attitude and everything. He laughs about everything, takes it easy. And so I told him, I was like, in a week when all the middle schoolers get here, like, your demeanor is what's going to keep you from playing. But you see, he would have been gone. We go with that was our high snap. Our quarterback does a good job of getting some yards back, but that was our bad snap. Camera guys really doing a great job there for you guys. Sorry if you're losing it.
Hey, still film.
But hey, so here we go back to the swing. I thought I was actually wanted to go back here. So this was one of the things I showed him when we watched this. I was actually really proud of is if you can, camera's late, but you see the play's already developed. We're running 6. I realize they're clearing out. So you can see we're already 10 yards down the field. He's actually waiting and hasn't decided to throw the swing yet, which is the big thing I've been working on him. I say when in doubt, throw it to the back. He takes that like it is the gospel. And so this time it was the right decision, but he throws it to the swing, and but does things. He actually ended up getting a first down there. That was crazy. So now we're on defense. Do you want me to talk about the 3-5-3? Because we run it too. Or do you want to?
I want to wait. We're going to do a whole segment after you just on tackling in the 3-5-3. But, I mean, if you want to just, talk about it during your play, that's
yeah, I'll just briefly. So we run the 3-5-3. We do it because we didn't have enough linemen to run the 4-2-5. So we had to shift to this out of necessity. And it was a godsend for us because we have a ton of these little linebackers. These kids like that and they want to knock the piss out of you. And I've never coached a team of kids that wanted to hit so much. It's one of the things that all the coaches say is our kids just won't hit like your kids. And we don't really practice it. We're very much of a efficient air raid style team. We do practice a little hitting, but we don't like do the whole Oklahoma lay down on your back and just run as fast as we can into each other like people think will make tackling better. We do some basic tackling stuff, but nothing crazy. But what we like to do is we slant, and we usually send one of our outside linebackers, one of the 5. So we have our main 3 that are stacked here, and then we have Austin and Nigel, and we literally do Clemson to the left, Gator to the right, and it's either they wait to hear Nigel go or Austin go. And the reason thing that gives us the most success here is that offensive lines just really struggle to seem to pick up to the second level. We'll see. See how they do. Okay, so nobody came to get a linebacker. This was their big play of the game. I told our safety, you're like the deep person in a zone press. If you go for a steal, you have to get it every time, because if you miss, it's a layup. And that's kind of resonated. He hasn't made that mistake again. And then his father kind of told him, I'd rather you get a penalty and break the kid's rib than try to throw. And you can see right there, he changed up, and that kid didn't go long again after catching that rib shot.
Your D linemen are standing up?
Yeah, so our league changed the rule to add 12U is protected the center. It's a new rule. So in our 3-5-3, he actually takes a step back off the line of scrimmage and stands up. And now they say he's a linebacker, not a defensive lineman. So if they go under center, he will put his hand down.
I got you. Okay.
But it's been kind of crazy. There, we just picked that ball off. Sorry. This camera's a little crazy here. But
love watching defense.
This was my favorite. This was the play I want to talk about here. We are in the end zone. I'm going to pause this and change the speed here because I hate watching stuff full speed. So once we get here to where this play starts, I'll stop again and go through this. This is empty. Well, this kid is up in the game. We also have playtime rules. We have to give every kid has to play 3 plays first half and second half of the game. This is one of those kids. I told him he needs to learn how to block, and I'll show it later in the game. He sets a block up that actually ends up helping us win this game. But this is supposed to be empty, jet, dart, QB dart. So you see our tackles wrapping here. The backside linebacker, they blitzed him on any jet sweep play. Had my tackle get up in this hole, it's a touchdown. They look at them. They've all gone full speed to the jet sweep. They're gone.
Oh yeah, middle linebacker.
The only person here, yeah. And my guard tackle doesn't wrap up, and he makes a great tackle. And we would have been gone. Now we watched this film, and this kid now is a monster on this play. But we got a penalty there for LJ leaving here. Basically just, quick screen. They did a good job. That 52 defensive lineman did a good job getting there, but he was trying to get up and get back out. We get another delay game, something. So now or not a delay game. We got some kind of penalty. So now we're all back on the 2-yard line. And we're going to run jet sweep here. And he ends up cutting it up. The hole will come because 99 and this kid here, I think both end up jumping outside. Oh, nope, they back us up again. They said 6 false started there. They called us a false start on my jet motion 3 times in a row. That's why we're on the 1-yard line. I remember that now. I've never seen someone false start in a jet sweep, but our guy had successfully did it 3 times in a row until I talked to the ref and explained what we're trying to do.
Like, that's what they call motion.
Yeah, so we're on the 1-yard line. I mean, it's rec football, man. They get $40. I try to be cool about it, but it does get frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, well, they still should know what they're doing.
So see, they thought it was a jet sweep, and he sees the hole, cuts up, and ends up making a pretty decent play. Sometimes I try to work with him on this. He really loves to run people over, and sometimes he'll do it just because, and it doesn't always make a ton of sense. But he also is my middle linebacker and complains that we don't hit enough in practice. So he's like, let me hit people in practice, and maybe I won't hit everybody in the game.
Yeah, trying to find some work, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So.
I'd rather have to take the aggression out of a kid than because there's no way to put it in on him.
So you see right here, it's kind of funny, but because they're under center, he should put his hand down. We had to work on this. he was getting so confused. But they'd start on shotgun, he'd stand up, and then they'd come under center like they're trying to manipulate the rule. And it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Especially when you see their line. I'm like, that kid's big enough, he can snap and get through everything. Anyways, they tried to throw a decent amount, but they ended up throwing interceptions. The next play, they did it again. We picked it off again. Let me get back up here to some of the stuff that went wrong. The biggest thing for our O-line is, so we'll start the second half. They'll start getting better. That was our biggest pain point to start the year, was just they didn't know how to block. We weren't able to do any scrimmages because of COVID. So this was their first real test. That wasn't, their friend at practice. And as you know, even when you try to tell them to go, good on good, they still sometimes find a way to take it easy on their friends. And it gets very frustrating. But all right, I'm going to let this play here. So you see now we're getting a much better push, even on the pass set there. 99 whiffed. This play, I later learned, is it's 430. I looked up to the sky and realized I couldn't catch the ball if I was running this route. But I didn't realize this yet, so I call it a couple more times and end up. Their defensive line was just better than our kids, and I'm glad we played them first, so they could see. That was stick. I sometimes will do the either bow and arrow or pretend like I'm shooting a 3-pointer. It's a basketball, but I call it a 3-pointer. If I want him to take a deep shot. Here we're going to my diamond. They do a horrible job blocking right there. You see 5 just completely whiffs on this. And let's block it right. We're going 1, 2, 3. We have the numbers. All 5 has to do is make contact, and this is a touchdown. And I talked to him. I said, I just keep running outside. Don't try to cut back inside on a defensive lineman. Just go, your job is to get outside, get outside, get outside. We're back on defense. They fumbled. Did they get that ball back? They punt here, and the ball somehow magically rolls out of bounds inside the 10, which is, never seems to happen. So here I switched Jacob, my best receiver, to the other side of the field so the sun's no longer in his eyes. And we had a lineman get hurt, so I got to take my tight end and put him at tackle, which is where he's always played. I made him a tight end this year, so he naturally just gets down his 3-point stance. Oh, this is not the touchdown play. This is the jet sweep touchdown play. He's still on the wrong side of the field. Sorry, let me jump up. So the stick is wide open here, and we watched this on film, and I'm so mad because he decided he was throwing this swing no matter what.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Look how open this is. He's gone. He's gone. Now, if you go a frame earlier, he might not be gone, but we've thrown the swing so much, they just all go into the swing. He catches that. He's at least going to get upfield. Now, I mean, this is my best player, so I understand sometimes you just let him do things he likes to do. He ends up making this a first down.
Bro, man.
Yeah, and see, he's still not down.
Right there,
I'm yelling at him to go out of bounds. I think he's about to get killed, but I've seen people just let him go, and I've also watched kids get out of his way.
I love your running back right there. He's hilarious.
Yeah. He's supposed to run a swing. Sometimes he stands there. I tell him to tell me when he wants a break because I got a backup who's pretty good, but he'll just stop occasionally.
buy a
And-
ticket, but
Yeah. But this is the first time they've ever really done this. See, there he is throwing the swing again, just deciding, heck, I'm going to throw the swing. I don't care.
yeah, that big boy's not getting me.
No, and
Oh, good move right there.
So a 2-yard throw for
yeah, about a 28-yard gain. Yeah. And so that was what we decided. After halftime, I told him, I did tell the quarterback, I said, we're going to make them run sideline to sideline the rest of this game. That's it. This is my quarterback. He gets mad because that guy doesn't really take a block. And then this changed. This also people got fired up. So my quarterback just trucks that kid. And the rest of the team got a little tougher after that. It was kind of funny because I didn't think Mario had that in him to run a kid over. I ain't never seen it.
Huh. Love it.
So then we just do a direct snap. Here, I'll speed this up. This really is not necessary. I really just want to get to the next series. We end up going. I want to run green here. They do this wrong. But I just call green and send my Y to the right side of the field. I don't call green or blue. They just really struggled with green and blue from a hand signal standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good-looking coach right there, though. Red shirt, easy to see on the sideline for the black and white team. Golly. And so, again, I believe there's no motion. He should snap this and throw it immediately. There is no one there, and he runs right into the defender. And so I don't know why he did not throw that ball. He just handing it off. We end up, I'm going to fast forward here. Let's skip ahead. So they fumble here. We get the ball back. Something I do is anytime there's a turnover, I take a shot. It's just our kids know if we get a fumble, if we get an interception, the next play is going to be we're going to chuck it. And so they just fumbled here, and we take a shot. And obviously, this is not a good throw. He threw him in, but he went and got it, and that safety just didn't have a chance. That was 6. The inside guy shows a hitch, and our wide receivers, the one thing we do is if they're going to run a hitch, they Odell Beckham their stance, and that lets the quarterback know I'm running a hitch. Also lets the other receivers know he's running a hitch, so on my 6, I have more grass to play in.
What do you mean, Odell Beckham their stance? He has a weird stance?
You know how they cross their hands down below their knees? They're down at their knees instead of having their hands up the way we want them so they can fight. You know what I'm talking about? And
never understood that. I never understood that. I see so many kids do that now, and I never understood.
It's Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham started it, and it's the dumbest thing in the world. It has no purpose. But in a hitch, you're not hand fighting. You're not worried. They're not sticking on you. So it works well. So here we end up not getting this. We ran a slant. They did well. We got it the first time, but the defense jumped off sides. Let's go. All right, we're back on offense. All right, here comes LJ. So he's coming in. LJ always goes to the slot. LJ would not block even the 10U team when we practice them. So I've been preaching, LJ, you got to block. If you want to get on the field, you got to block. This is, we're going to get backed up, I think. Here we go. I'm going to jump ahead. This doesn't matter. All right. I think this is the play. So here comes LJ. I don't know if y'all can see my mouse or not. This is my LJ kid right here who was in the slot. He's going to have to make a block here. And so obviously this kid's trying to run away from him, but I was so proud of him for staying on that kid to the last minute, and he couldn't make the tackle on Butt, and now Butt goes and scores a 75-yard touchdown. But I emphasized the fact that you went in the game and you blocked, and so because you were engaging him as he tried to get away from you, he could not get the position to make the tackle sideways, and that's why this play happened. And it helped everyone else realize, like, and the next game I gave, I'll stop my screen share now. I gave him, he got more playing time. And so the players saw that, and it's been a big time change in the way our receivers have started blocking, because they realize now if you're not a starter, that if you want to get on the field, you got to block. And our starters have started realizing coach is putting kids in that will block, and they've started blocking better. But since I'm here, I'll kind of explain. So normally we're like this coming out at wide receiver. So, and I teach windshield wipers in and out. That's their only release they can do. That's it. I want inside or outside your move. But if they're going to run a hitch, they just do this, and that's it. That lets everyone know they're running a hitch. So now I have either more grass on top, or the quarterback doesn't have to make signal to them. Because if sometimes, 7 yards, if they're not sure, instead of being confused, he sees that. So he goes, okay, so he's going to run the hitch. I know that he's think it's open now. I'm going to take it.
I like that.
So
I mean, there always is that gray area. And,
we were just
good
like,
way to
let the wide receiver decide instead of the quarterback. Let's let the wide receiver say, hey, I think it's 7. I'm going to take the hitch. And at least that way the quarterback now knows, okay, they're hitching. We're prepared. And so that was our first game. It was rough. Ton of stuff that went wrong. Second half was a lot better. The next game we played, we won 48-0. We played a middle. They actually was a all 13. It was an 7th and 8th grade team out of Georgia. They were just big and slow. And then this past week, we had a game against a team that knew everything we were going to do. It was really fun. It did stink to look at those kids in the eyes that knew me. And you could see, like, no one smiled at me before the game. They wanted to beat me so bad.
Yeah.
And but
that's fun, man. And kudos to you to show what the stuff that you were having trouble with as a team. And the first game, there's always some jitters, but hey, guys, none of this is perfect. We all have those days. I mean, we're spending half of this show talking about how to help O-line get their stuff together. So thanks for showing that stuff, because that's really, I think, if we could all be realistic with each other and really show what's going on, that's where we could all kind of help each other make strides, not just showing the 90-yard, beautiful tag.
The one thing that I do love about the air raid and coaches with the pass first philosophy, is you saw as those guys got tired from running sideline to sideline, it opened up the big run. It opened up bigger plays. But also my kids now realize we can score on any play. And like my old team knew that. This team this year, like, they've heard me talk. We do all the drills. They all of a sudden started going, okay, perfect drill, or what we call settle and noose. Perfect drill it makes sense. I see it now. I see it. Pat and go. I see it. I get it. Why we spend so much time doing that. And then our linemen got to see it on film, and I wish it was a huge change just from seeing themselves and then the next game. And so I wanted to show some of the stuff we did wrong, because you see a lot of the highlights, but the just seeing what the kids seeing the kids see the mistake. I don't know, we don't normally do that in youth football. So we started doing Monday night Zoom, and that's how we watch film on Zoom, because every kid has it now. And so we do Monday Zoom nights. And as an LSU fan, which we'll get into that later, how much it sucks today, but also I'm happy. We still that it's Tell the Truth Monday, and we get on film and everyone tells the truth about themselves, and they got to pick out their worst play, and then that they have to show their worst play and talk to the team about what they did wrong. And it's really helped. It's really helped everyone just say, okay, all right, so cool, you're struggling with that. So a lot of people are like, a lot of my linemen are like, okay, I'm also struggling with that, but I didn't want to say that. And then my coach is like, Theo's like, oh, guys, that's super simple. If they do that, do this. And I'm like, awesome. I didn't even know that, but there you go. And so getting that transparency and getting kids to open up about what they are struggling with, that was actually Dad said, hey, we used to do this. He was watching it. And so we added that in there, the show your worst play. And they get to pick it out. And that's their 2 minutes is to show their play and say what they did wrong and what they don't know how to. That's where they're asking for help. So that was huge.
That's great, Coach. That's a great. Usually it's me up there doing film and calling people out, but I love it that they have to bring their own and then I don't even have to do, then it could be constructive. So that's even a better way than I've been doing that. I love that. Great job, Coach. Hey, so stick on. We're already at 6:11. I want to be conscious of time. I really want to make sure Mike Hardwick gets a little bit of airtime because he wants to bring up a couple things that I think all of us need to focus on. David already alluded to it, and we don't talk about defense too much on this show, but I don't want this to only be air raid, guys. I want us to be able to help each other in every way, shape, or form. And defense, obviously, the root of all football is blocking and tackling. I don't care what systems you're running. I don't care what your philosophy is. I don't care where you live in the world. If you can't block and you can't tackle, this is all for nothing. So, Mike, I want to just give you some time to talk through it. I have the everyday, and I don't want to speak for you. These are the drills that we do on my team every single day in some way, shape, or form during the tackle season. But I have some of yours teed up. So maybe you want to just kick it off by starting a little bit talking about what these drills will be and why you do them.
These drills are we'll go back, with the COVID and when we got approval to play. One of the things we talked about was not our offense because we kind of feel like we sort of kind of know what we're doing. We just do what we do. But we talked a lot about tackling and how that was going to look in the COVID thing. So we had to kind of look at all that. But we do heads up tackling, and I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with it. I think Matt's familiar with it. That's what we do. And if I was in charge of a youth league, if I was in charge, I would make every coach go through that. I would do that. If you're not familiar with it, there's several places to go. One is just to go to YouTube and do Pete Carroll tackling video or Pete Carroll rugby tackling video. We are all certified in heads up tackling, which is offered through the National Federation of High School. Now, in the state of Mississippi, it's free. In some states, it may not be free, but I would get the funding and I would do it. So it's just a series of drills. It was funded by the NFL several years ago, I think 2015. So we've actually been doing this for a while. But myself and all these coaches, and all my coaches we have that certification, heads up tackling. And so these are just some of the drills that we do with bags. We emphasize, and there's just a bunch of series of drills: shoulder tackling roll, drive for 5, double uppercuts. That's what we call them. So these are just a series of drills. I think these are some that we did this week. I think that I sent to you. That we did after our game last week. And so these are all my 7th and 8th graders together. It's about 100 guys. There's the 8th graders in blue, the 7th graders in white, and we just line them all up across the field. We got 10 dummies out there, and we just pick a couple of drills. Again, with the COVID, this drill was 9 minutes long in total. And then we go from here into our endo defensive groups, and then we'll do some specific tackling with live tackle or ankle tackle or whatever we're doing. But we always do this when we do our defensive group work. This is what we start off with, and it's usually 9 to 12 minutes of some type of tackling through the National Federation. And like I said, it's several videos that they have. It's on YouTube. And anyway, I think that's a great system to teach. I know several weeks ago, Matt had a show, and it started off about, how to win over parents, how to introduce your program, that sort of thing. And I think in today's climate, particularly youth, and even for middle school, we address this every year at our parent meeting. Of course, this year was Zoom, but how we teach tackling, our equipment, our helmets, and how we teach tackling. Our people are involved in, and I have some of these up on my website for my football team, and it's accessible through the school so our parents can see some of the same thing. I think you'll win some parents over about how you teach that. Are y'all gonna do some Oklahoma and just line up and hit each other? You're taking a risk if you do that. There's just some smarter ways to teach tackling. Anyway, so that's enough for me talking. If anybody has any questions about heads up tackling, Matt can answer those questions for you, or Matt can give them my information and you could talk to me.
Yeah, I'll put it all on here. Let's run these, and you could talk through them as they're going. But yeah, just to reinforce what you're saying, our entire league, we have 12 teams in our league now. Our entire league has to be CPR certified and heads up certified through USA Football. So as Mike said, even if they didn't have to, I would still make I'm the AD of our organization, and I would absolutely make them do this. You know, it's pretty clear that not every team in our league abides by this, and they are, you know, they might say maybe they got coaches got certified, but the way they're coming and launching themselves, it's still old school being taught out there, which whatever, you know, it is what it is. But I think every coach, if you're coaching youth, especially youth, should know the right way to keep our game safe and the right way to make sure that, you know, we are minimizing any risk for these kids below high school. I mean, in high school as well.
Also, if you'll notice here in Mississippi, and I know each state is different, but each state has something. If you'll notice, we're distance. We're 6 years. I mean, we have placed these bags, at a distance. So that's another thing. If you're going to tackle or do live work, you can't do it in Mississippi. You can't do it for over 15 minutes. So you have to be creative in just about everything you do. So this is just one of the ways that we do it. And like I said, this is all of our guys together. We are practicing doing our double uppercuts, and we're extending out over the bag, and it's part of the tackling, the heads up tackling. I mean, it's simple, but it kind of gets us going. And then once we do these, that's one of my assistant coaches who's doing this drill, and he picks out we usually do like 3 things every day. And in a second, we're going to do some shoulder tackling rolls or type things that we do. So we'll just run through it.
And by the way, I had a coach, and it wasn't my idea, but I'm sure glad he suggested it. Every time we finish warm up, 6:20, 6:18, whatever it was, we'd start practice at 6. We would stop after warm ups, get in these very similar lines, and just do these drills every offensive day and defensive day, just for about 6 minutes total. They do it on each other's body. So we didn't have to bring bags and lug them around, and this was pre-COVID. But I mean, literally every day they just did these same drills on each other, rolling, wrapping, throwing uppercuts, and it's one of those things where it's just like catching a ball, guys. You're not going to be a good tackling team unless you put the reps in.
Right. And yeah, I'd be interested to know, you guys, if you just chat in here or just type in if you're familiar with this. If it is, we can just move on. If you're not familiar with it, I think it's really something youth and middle schools needs to take a look at. I think it'll help you in your tackling.
100%. And again, keeping the head out.
Walk tackle, drive for 5. Yeah, we do all that.
Love it. I love it. And that hawk tackle is not always natural to these kids. It's not unless you're really going with full momentum and your body takes you over, you got to actually focus on seeing that kid can do it good. You could tell he knows how to do it. But a lot of these other kids, they roll the wrong way. They don't use their body momentum. It's just one of those things that's, they got to do it. You just got to do it. Same thing as catching a ball or anything else.
Now, if Coach Salas says that he likes it, then I can go tonight. If he gives a thumbs up, then I'm a happy man.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Do y'all do that? And do you do that, or is that something y'all do in North Carolina? I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, is it heads up or what?
Yeah, we're definitely
heads up.
We're definitely heads up. I know for Pop Warner, everybody has to be heads up certified. So all the coaches, staff there, but in middle school, we don't necessarily have to, but I try to push it on my coaches if we can. So, yeah.
But it's cool. It seems like a lot of people are. So those are repetitive. That's just a way we teach it. And like I said, we go, like Matt said, we go from these, and then we'll do live work after that. But that's just sort of I introduced. And you're right. We've been doing that for the last couple of weeks. We've been doing it every day at practice. So we try to do it between 9 and 12 minutes. That coach that was running it there, I mean, he's got it on a stopwatch. So that's after stretches or whatever our endo group work is, we'll come and do that. And then that's the first that we do at practice.
Beautiful.
If he does it almost the same, I'm extremely pleased.
Absolutely. Good. I'm glad everyone's doing it. And without helmets, Todd, that's huge, man. Without helmets is even better because it teaches them. You better keep your head out of this.
Well, that's actually interesting. One of the first studies the NFL did, I think it was New Hampshire, because I read the study. They were funded by the NFL, 2014, 2015, and they're like NAI or something like that, but they're like national champions over there, or Vermont or something like that. And that's how they do their circuit. And they did the heart monitors, and they did the monitors where they did stuff on their head to do the impact. And that's how they did their 20. They did it 20 minutes every day, and that's how they all did it was without helmets. Now I don't think that's good for youth in middle school to do that.
You got to be able to control yourself. Yeah,
that's right. But anyway, but some people do that, and anyway, and there's some information literature out there on that.
Yeah, it's interesting psychology behind it. My son started playing rugby. It's really taken off here the last couple of years in our town. And most of those people, I don't know if you guys watch rugby, but there's always like 3 people on a team that have the soft helmets. And the coaches actually discourage it because it gives you a false sense of protection. And kids will start dipping their heads once they feel like they got a helmet on. So it's interesting psychology behind it. But either way, guys, as long as you guys got them rapping and rolling and
yeah, that's good.
And throwing it. Okay, cool. So let's move the defensive discussion forward. Okay, so this next segment is going to be a precursor to a future show where we talk about how, as offensive coordinators in the air raid, and Coach Salas, we want you to be a part of the panel when we do that, how to attack a 3-3-5. But today I want to set the table because Mike Hardwick and David Hunter, and I don't know, maybe Facil, I'm not even sure what defense you guys usually run, but those two actually run the 3-3-5 as a part of their package this year currently. So I wanted to learn more, just like what it is, what type of players are at these positions, why you would use it versus something else. And then once we can set the table for that today, then we can do a show in next week or the week after where it's like, okay, now we know what the 3-3-5 is. Now, how do we attack it? Because I keep hearing across the country, you're seeing it. I'm not seeing it, but I'm sure at some point the Bay Area will catch up and people will start getting sick of us, throwing quick screens until they bleed. Right, Coach Salas? So Mike, I got your screen share going here, and I just switched the tabs, and you're good to go.
Oh my goodness! I hope I'm still with you after this.
You did it. Nailed it.
I even got Lasker's name up here. He liked it.
I love it. Yeah.
Play software. This came to me a couple weeks ago. I've been talking about. I think, and again, matched content. Somebody a couple weeks ago or a week or two ago posted that they were seeing it in youth, and I was just blown away. And a bunch of people responded to that post, and I was kind of blown away. I think Matt was, and we started texting like we do sometimes. And that's kind of where I got the idea, because we do that, and I was just blown away that some youth teams are doing that. Yep. I'm not a defensive guy. I'm a little intimidated. Coach Salas is here, Coach Feasel, high school guys, but we do that. We're known for that in our high school. So I'm going to pull this up. Basic diagram. I'm going to get where I can edit, maybe move some people around. 3-3 stack. Everybody see it?
Yeah, beautiful.
I mean, basic 3-3 stack out of doubles. I'll just go over briefly some of the things about it, and please correct me if I'm incorrect. If you're unfamiliar with the defense, all right, the nose is basically the way we teach it, unless you want to shade or slant. The nose blows up the center. He goes forward. He wants to get some ground upfield to let the mic operate. Defensive ends, tackles, whatever you want to call those, this is where it gets tricky. Defensive ends, defensive tackles, if you want to teach the base defense, those guys are 2 gappers. They're reading their guys, 2 gappers. If they block down, of course, they got to keep off the mic, but also they got to keep them off the linebackers. So if you're teaching it in its pure form, they're 2 gappers, which is hard to do.
Are you guys teaching that at that level? We tried to last year.
It's hard. And this is what you get. So this is what you normally get because that is hard.
Yeah, it is.
You mainly get pinching here, or you get where I'm going to attack with my outside shoulder. You're responsible for the big gap. In other words, if he blocks down, you make sure you block down with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes some time to work on defensively, but that also takes some time to learn how to block that again. The Mike backer, he basically, the way we teach low beams, high beams. He's not really reading guards. He looking over the guards to the back. He is mirroring the back. If the back goes flat, he goes flat. If the back comes forward, he comes forward. That's just a crash course in the Mike linebacker. Of course, and we say high. And another thing that we talk about for this linebacker is if it's cloudy or clear. So anyway, if this back were to go forward over here, crossing the face, if he were to go forward, crossing the face, then he's going to go forward. Of course, the nose is going here. We got a big mush pile right here. And then, so he goes cloudy to clear where it would be a backside cut if that's what you're doing. Anyway, that's a crash course in the Mike linebacker. Stack linebackers, where it gets interesting. Stack linebackers in its purest form are taught to read the guards. That's how we do it, to read the near guard. Okay, so if it's flow away, the lineman were to go studs like that away, then he's going to fill in this B to A gap. Obviously, if it goes this way, then he is reading the outside. So again, that's hard to block. You got this guy here. How are you going to block that on a sweep or flow, any of that sort of thing? All right. Pass blocking. That came up today in a post. Another good show of how to pass block. Some people were saying we're having pass blocking. Sort of depends on the pass blocking, if you're going to be a slide guy or if you're going to be a big guy. We're going to block the bigs. But you have to have some rules, and you're going to have to figure out how it is that you want to do that. We're going to block the bigs, so he's blocking. Our rule is the R is always going to block the right side outside linebacker. Even if our R is over here, he's going to always block this guy unless he gets in a route. These two guys.
Coach, sorry. How do you know that right now it's pretty even? How do you know that's backside? What differentiates for the running back?
The R always has the right side line.
Oh, on the right side, just not the weak side.
So
the right
if he moves over here, for us in a 5-3, the stack, he always has that linebacker. So in this, he's always going to be, we call it a flash. He's always going to be blocking that guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. These two guys for us have these two guys. He's a big. So unless he walks up on the line, the Mike is this guard. So he's got to get off the line of scrimmage. That's the way we teach it. You two guys have these two guys. And the way we teach this, you two guys have these two guys. He's got a big, so unless he walks up on the line, this guard has got that linebacker. And I'm not trying to tell you again that this way is right. You can slide protect and everybody step to the right or step to the left. There's a lot of different ways, but you have to have a way to protect because, yes, probably what's going to happen, this guy's coming here, this guy's coming here, this guy's coming here, and this guy's coming here. That's what a lot of people do in the youth. They're just going to stunt those guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
So far, so good. Philosophy-wise, before we get here, what would make you go 3-3-5 versus 4-4? What's your reasoning behind switching to this? Is it personnel? Sounded like David did it because of personnel. He just had more linebacker DB types than D linemen. I mean, what's your thought process behind doing this versus a more typical defense?
The first honest answer is that's what our high school does. That's what we're kind of known for.
Good.
That's
Yeah.
what we do. But number two, this run properly gives this is about the only thing. You give me a forefront in middle school and I'm going to toast it. I hate to be like that. I mean, you know,
you're air raid coach. That's what you're supposed to say, coach.
But you give me this out of doubles right here, and you know what, and I'm playing Matt, and he knows what he's doing. Now, if you don't know what you're doing in this, again, I'm going to take advantage of it. But if you know what you're doing, this causes me some problems. Like I've said, this has caused me to look at just spend extra time on my pass rep. This is extra time. I've got to get reps with my art and making sure, hey, even if you're over here, you've got this guy now. You know you do that. So this is causing us some problems. Pass drops, just a basic cover 3. We're going to the outside of the numbers. We're going to the hash. Outside of the numbers, he's going to the hash. This backer's going to the hash. This guy right here, there's a lot of different ways you can teach it. Some teach it to the field, to the back. We're going to teach it. You're going to go straight back 8 to 10 yards, and you're going to mirror the quarterback. In fact, we played a 3-3 team this week that actually intercepted us on a stick, believe it or not, that he did that. Because he read the quarterback's eyes, and he drifted on just like that. So that's sort of a new thing is you're just drifting back, and you're going to look at the quarterback's eyes. If he's looking over here, then he's going to go over there.
That's interesting.
And that's kind of how we've done it. Of course, most people are going to go to the field. You're going to go to the field, or a lot of air raid guys, Mike backer, you're going to go to the side of the back. If I put the back over here, then he's going to go over here to the curl zone. Okay, so you've got some choices. You've got some choices there, or you can change it every week depending on, the strength of your team.
Yeah. And so these two new, the two backers on the outside, they're basically overhang defenders now. Those are true linebackers, or they're DBs, or they're whatever you want them to be, or
I think they're whoever you want. They're your edge setters. They're two of your better players. They're going to be typically tall, lanky, wiry guys that can cover ground. So they're linebacker. They're like your split floor pluggers. They're sort of that same guy.
Got it.
Hey, Coach,
Love it.
So on our overhangs, what we do, and I'm saying we because the other coach put this in, the defensive coordinator, but he'll call them linebackers or he'll call them safeties, depending on what the kid needs to hear. So he said he's changed it up in the past. He said, sometimes I tell them we run a 3-3-5 because they want to be DBs, but they'll come up and hit. And if I call them a linebacker, they start playing different. And I was like, that kind of makes sense when you think about the psychology of a kid, because a 3-5-3 or a 3-3-5 really is the same thing. But he's had some kids I got to call them a safety because that makes them think I got to play pass, and some kids I need them to think I got to come hit. And so that's
out of time. For us, that guy is called our stud. That's our stud backer. That's what we call him, the stud backer, and that's what happens from week to week, depending on and I'm talking more of high school. The stud backer, he may be all over the field, so that's what you have. All right, 3-3. Now let's get some problems for the 3-3 that 3-3 coaches do not like, and this is one. And this is one. The doubles is why the 3-3 got popular. It gives some problems. Gives some problems to me if you know what you're doing. So I don't go to 2-on-2 because I know. Because, again, for us and our high school coaches, I know we don't like trips because that makes us get out of our 3-3 stack.
Yep.
So if you go trips, this stack backer has got to either go out, he's got to go out some, and then you're left in a quandary. You've got two choices to make. Do you move these guys over in a 3-2, or are you going to move this guy over and go into 4-man line? I mean, those are your two basic quick adjustments. If I go over here really quick and I'm going NASCAR and I'm going to go to trips really quick and try to get a playoff, obviously this guy's going to widen out, or he's going to go halfway, or I'm going to go 3-over-3, or whatever it is you have taught that week. When Oxford goes trips, when Mike goes trips, the Sam backer and the Willie backer, this is what you do. But more into that, if you don't do anything else, that's what you're left with. Right? If you don't make any other adjustments, that's what you're left with.
Yep.
So there's a problem there right there. So there's a problem right there. So you're left with making some adjustments, with your linebackers, or if you want to keep them over there, you can bring this guy up, or you can bump down and make a solid over here, or you can go to a 4-man line. So, but my point is, if you go to trips, then it makes your defense gets distorted. You can't stay in what I just showed you. If you do stay in what I just showed you and just move this guy over or move him out just a little bit, I can block right down on your guy right there. I can block that guy, and I can wrap around right there on who? Or I can run my stick play, or I can run my dart play, and who's got that? So this causes some problems for the 3-3. And take it from me as a 3-3 coach, and talking to in preparation tonight, I asked our defense coordinator, what do you not like? They don't like trips. So there you go. So that's one thing. Any questions before we move on?
No, Coach Ross is chiming in, running away from and yeah, I was seeing same thing as you, Coach Ross. If he shifts those two linebackers more toward the middle, I'm running that GT away from the trips, and you got numbers back there.
That's exactly right. That's nice and toasty.
Hey, Coach, on your 3-3 stack, when you see trips, and you may have said this, and I might have missed it. Do you leave the middle and the other linebacker still stacked, or do you shift them over? What's your answer on that?
We're going into a 3. Let me call back up. Yeah, I should have done that. Okay, take just a second for it to load up.
Yeah, you're not going to leave it all unbalanced like that. I know you.
No. But the team we played Tuesday did.
Really?
Team we played Tuesday did. But no, for us, we're going to go 3 over 2. We're going to put these guys in the big out.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to do.
What do you do with your backside backer? Does he have a rule in trips? Is he free to blitz, or do you let him just stay in space?
We're going to call it. He's going to do what he does normally, unless we call it. Okay. All right. But that's an interesting question, and I'll get to that in just a second. Let me give you a secret. You heard it from me first. I'm going to give you a secret.
We're dying right now, Coach. We love secrets.
I'm going to tell you the one thing that stack coaches absolutely, positively do not like. This formation right here. There's a tight end on the line. All right. So somebody asked me. Go ahead. Somebody asked me.
Yeah. Why?
Thank you. All right. He's off the line of scrimmage. I put him as a sniffer back. He can go back into the stack. Yeah. It doesn't distort my defense. If I go on the line of scrimmage, again, I can't have it. I can't have that back there, can I? He's got to go. I don't think there's another adjustment you can do. He's got to go right here.
He's got to go have leverage, yeah.
Right, and these guys, either head up or he's got to go outside. We put him outside. Again, because he's a step backer. He's a quicker, faster guy. He is not used to being up here on the line of scrimmage, and we don't really want him up there. So we're going to try to put him outside shade and try to protect him as much as possible. And then we've gone 3 over 2, but then you're going to have to make those adjustments. If this guy's off the line, you don't have to make those adjustments. You can stay in the stack if you want to. It's only if you go to the line of scrimmage that you got to, again, distort the defense. And I'm going to tell you, for my defensive coordinator, again, we just won the state championship in 6A football in Mississippi. And my defensive coordinator, who was also the old defensive coordinator before he retired, basically, they do not like trips over with the tight end on the line. That's okay. We know how to do that. It distorts our defense, but we know how to do that. But if he goes there, Coach Matt, what was the play? And so I'm setting you up, Coach Matt. What was your video play today or this week that you posted?
The video I posted?
That you posted for your team. Didn't you post on your video playbook?
Oh, yeah, I guess I did. I did cross and mesh this week, but you're talking about cross.
Look at this right there. Look at that right there. Because he's probably going to come over. Look, there's you got under Sam, over Mike. He can go vert. He can go over here. He can go wherever you want. Bring this guy down here or coming over across. So there you go right there. Stack guys do not like this formation right here.
Yeah, you could go cross. You can go shallow or drive. I guess it would be at a 3x1. I love that.
There's your mesh. Put this guy over here. There's your mesh. There's your mesh. Do that right there. That takes him out. Look at that right there.
Yeah, mesh wheel. That's that.
So, take it from Mikey. You can tell me when you do a stack guy, put a tight end in. You still run your same stuff. You can still run your stick. You can run your stick with that guy. Run your stick with that guy.
You can run corner out of that. You got corner right there too.
I knew you were going to say that. You run your Y corner like that, particularly if this guy doesn't. I bet you if you put your R over here, he's going to go more into the middle of the field. Okay, and if he does, then there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you could run 6 out of this right now, just right here, and you're still on home runs.
So anyway, you can thank me. You can thank me later, but stat coaches will kill me for showing y'all that. But they do not like that right there.
I love it. That's beautiful. It's a good thing. David, you do anything different? You do anything different with your 3-5-3, or if it's a 3-5-3-3-5? I don't know, whatever you call it.
Yeah. So we have yet to play a team that passes with a tight end, or if they do, they're in double tight. So you play double tight a little different than you would just play one tight end. I think one tight end actually gives you more fits as a 3-3 stack than a double tight team because you're getting a different offense. But
here's your play, Coach Hunter. Put the tight end. I just moved my A over here put your tight end away from this. Oh, you got 2 adjustments here. You can bring the stack over again, keep him out, or what we do, we're just going to bring this guy down. But there's your R flare, because if you can get the seal right there, there's mine and yours favorite play. Yeah. Or you can run a slant off that R flare, run a slant, run a hitch. But anyway, that's how we would do. That's how we would do against that. The only other choice is to bring him down again.
So that is actually what we do. We call it base 7, and we basically immediately shift to a 4-2-5 if we get a hand down tight end.
Right, that's be what you would do. That you would be coming over. So
that's what we do. We switch to a 4-2-5, and it's just everybody shifts over one gap, and our linebacker becomes a defensive end right there.
But again, like I said, we got 2 ways of doing it, but again, you got to distort. You can't stay in your stack to do that. You've got to distort your defense to do that. So anyway, so those are the things of the stack. To me, the stack gives the 2x2 some problems. We'll put it again. I mean,
let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, Coach, because I'm not going to face that many passing teams, but I'm looking for new ways, and I think we could do a whole show against how to stop the wedge, because I freaking hate that damn play. But does this defense work against running teams? Like, I'm going to face 80% wing T or just power teams. Is this a good defense for that scenario, or is this really only a fine team that's throwing the ball?
Go back to this. What we're getting a bunch of is tight end over. This tight end over. We're getting a lot of this in our league. Tight end over, either in a I formation, or this right here,
okay.
And they're running power O out of that.
They're just running spread power, basically.
They're running power O, going to block down, crack, block down, kick out, or your GT, your guard pulling, or your double pulling. So you're running power O out of that, trying to trying to destroy our defense. So we're getting a bunch of that, but that's what we're in. I mean, that looks closely to a 5-2. But what we're going to do is and what most stat coaches also do, if you do anything like this, trips over, or anything like this, or regular trips, most experienced stack people are going to bring pressure right here. So again, if you're a running team, that's fine. You just got to stop them at the point of attack. If you are a passing team, you have to know again what your blocking rules are, because you're like Coach Hunter said. Well, that's what we would do, and we do that a lot. Against if we were playing ourselves, that yes, we're going to bring that guy in a little closer, and one of these 2 guys are going to blitz every time. We're going to bring pressure, and that's what most guys again because this is a problem. So they're not going to sit there and let you throw the ball down the field. But of course, if you get this and can block it, there's that right there. There's your Y cross right there. You just need 3. If you can get 2.5, 3 seconds, he's going to clear right there.
Yep.
So again, you've got to be clear on your blocking rules. Who's the R is going to block if he comes up, or are you going to turn out and block? So that's the thing. You've got to block this backside if you're in these trips. So the good news is the stack people don't like this side. So what they're going to do is try to get you from the backside. So you just have to again rep it that week and decide what you're going to do that.
Right. Get your blocking team right.
We predominantly face run-heavy teams, and what we have found that has helped us since we didn't have linemen is that we have yet to play a team that effectively climbs to the second level. So what we end up is 5 offensive linemen blocking 3 defensive linemen, and our 5 faster players free in space. It sometimes becomes more of a bend but don't break kind of thing against a super heavy run team like a option or wing T team, but the football coach that I came over here with, same reason he got me is he was like, I'm a high risk, high reward defense, and I wanted a high risk, high reward offense. And so we blitz someone every play almost.
Right. When you get this right here, you get that right there. He should be uncovered. I mean, he should be uncovered, and these guys should be 2 of your better athletes.
So your ends have to be pretty stout to do this. I mean, because I'm just nervous. And if you guys watch Washington State last year in that bowl game, I mean, this is what I'm nervous about. Like 3 down linemen, and everybody else is tweeners, right? And they just got abused in that. And I think they were running this defense. We play at least 3 teams that really literally run the wedge the entire stinking game. So I'm just trying to figure out like if this would be the right defense for that. I'm guessing no, but convince me. I don't know.
What some people do, and we never do this. What some people do is slant.
We slant.
Well, we never do that because that leaves your Mike linebacker on the island.
Close. Yeah.
So we do
leaves the mic exposed, and we don't want to leave our mic exposed. He is B to B. So this guy got this. This guy has this. He has B to B again. He's doing the back. He's got to be free. So we don't slant at all because we don't want him taken out of the play at all.
So I have one thing I'd like to say here. So if we play a super run heavy team, we do 2 things. We either slant and automatically blitz the backside stud and the stud backer, or we bring our if they're not going to be a spread team, right? They're a wing T style team. We will actually stack our S and our Sam and Will in this situation on the butt, and we let them decide, and we blitz every gap. So we have every gap covered. If they shoot in, they immediately shoot out. And so we're almost like a 5-3, but we stack them. That's been one thing we've done. Mike probably has a reason why they don't do that. But that's just, we're also I'm also coaching. I coach against youth coaches.
Right.
I don't coach against high school coaches. I coach against other dads who aren't as obsessive.
Right.
So, I see a lot of wing TV. I see a lot of that single wing, that kind of stuff. Especially when we do tournaments and we go out of town and stuff. Our league doesn't run a ton of it, but those are kind of the simple answers we've given to kind of solve that.
There's a lot to digest there, and it is not an uncomplicated defense, but that's why I was just shocked that so many guys responded to this guy's post over a week ago, and I immediately texted Matt. I'm like, y'all see a bunch of 3-3? And he said no, but I mean, a lot of people responded to that post. I was just, I think that's just the flavor of the month. And you're right. A lot of these guys don't know, and that's why I wanted to just basically go over how you're supposed to teach it. But you're right. What a lot of guys do is, here I come, here I come, here I come, here I come. They might get you on some plays, but we're gonna toast that. But we are a team, not a running team, and that so. But anyway, that's just a quick tutorial. As terrible as it is against spread, you're right. I should have drawn up some running formations. I just didn't think about it today.
No. This was perfect, man. I'm just trying to think of it from a defensive standpoint. Yeah,
Right.
in my purposes, we go 5-3. Typically, our answer is 5-3, but honestly, the higher we've gone up in levels, and now last year was 14U. That 5-3, I don't know if that's the answer to stopping the wedge either. So I'm looking. I'm looking for anything that can help me, because it's just like at some point, if someone does that for a whole first half, you can stop them for the whole first half, but at some point the gully's gonna break.
Yeah, and we get that too. People try to ball control and keep it away from us, so we get that. We get that over. And so, like I said, for us, we get a lot of the tight end over, and they're just going to run a power O over there time and time again. And you're right, So you got, if they're going to put all their people on the right side, then you got to put your people on the right side. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
it's boring, and you're not teaching your kids anything. And I hate that, but that's just kind of where you are.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
There you go.
Well, good. We're going to follow this show up with some actual real content about what plays work well against the 3-3-5 in our air raid, why you would run it a certain way. I'm sure that Y corner will probably turn into more of a different type of look, and the corner route, just like you would. It's a little different against two high safeties. So I'd really like to get into that.
Proud of me for it actually working tonight. Aren't you proud of me?
Yes, look at you. We didn't even have one technology hiccup. And you touched your screen multiple times, so really appreciate it. All right, cool. Anybody want to say anything else? We've been on almost 2 hours. I don't want to keep you guys on too much longer. Cecile, we haven't checked in with you, man. You did some 7-on-7 this week?
Yeah, man. We had I had 8 games today. Sorry, I had 8 games today. We had 2 games yesterday. So my younger team, 12 and 14, we played yesterday, and then we had 15 that played today. So it's been a long day, man. Been a long day,
man.
How
many of those teams are you trying to coach it?
Oh, dude, I have 4. I'm trying to be more like the CEO now, trying to give some people some teams, let them make the calls and put the system in, and y'all take it and run with it, man. But no, shout out to my 14U. They put up 75 points yesterday. They was killing it, man. They was killing it. We ran 4 plays the entire game. That was it.
What were they?
We ran stick, cross, 6. We did that both ways. We needed to work on that, so we got a lot of good work out of that, and we did fade out. So
love it. Awesome,
stuff.
man. Well, that's great. That's great to hear. Good
yeah,
stuff, man. Awesome. David, any parting words of wisdom, buddy? Anything that you got for these guys before we head out?
No. I think it was a good lesson. The 3-5-3, I think, is a great defense. I think as air raid guys that we're running an offense that not a lot of other people run. I know not everybody here's air raid, but the other reason that we like the 3-5-3 is now not only do you have to prep for the first passing, you get a week of pure pass prep. Now you got to spend a whole week on a defense you haven't seen either. So you really end up wasting a lot of time with coaches having to prep for you for an offense they never see and a defense they're not used to. And so there's a lot of rules that those kids mess up on. They forget what to do. There's a lot of blown assignments. And we find that that's one of the biggest reasons we switched to it was we wanted to really focus on what could we do that would make the team prepare for it. We onside kick, so they got to spend time covering the onside kick. Like all those little things. We're like, okay, what can we make them waste time on, and how can we be efficient?
Yeah, agree.
100%. No, that's smart, and the less they can focus on their own plays, the better. So beautiful, man. Coach Mike, great to have you on here on this whole show. I know you're a busy guy, but obviously every Sunday that you're available, we'd love to have you on here. People love hearing from you and bringing up good points. Let's put our heads together and figure out the best plays to run against 3-3-5. I know we're going to ask the group this week if anybody has run a air raid against that defense, because we want them to come on and show film if they have it and talk about their experiences. But I think, Mike, you're a great kind of case study for us, because you've seen it at the high school level as well for some time, and kind of seen what your own school that you're associated with does against these defenses. So I think it's a great case study for us. And gosh, guys, we might as well do this for cover 3, cover 2, and so on and so forth. We haven't really gotten into that. But yeah, there's no reason why we shouldn't run all of our 6 plays, whatever it is, 10 plays against every defense. So all these coaches out here can know exactly what to do, whatever defense they're facing. I think that's gold. So great. Appreciate you guys being on for 2 hours this Sunday. We will get this out to everybody tomorrow on YouTube. And yeah, let's keep it going. And Facebook, guys, we're getting more and more people. We're up over 300 members on that page. And the more people we get, the more conversations are starting. So thank you guys for posting on there. All of you guys on the screen right now, thank you guys for communicating back with them, because, you know, it's one thing for coaches to ask questions, but it's a whole nother thing for them to be able to get answers. And all you guys out there, we're all collaborating so well. Let's keep it going on the Facebook page, because that really is, I think these shows are great. Obviously, they're fun. We get a lot out of them. And today we got a lot of great education. But, you know, if we're on that page the majority of the week, let's just keep those conversations going. All right. All right, beautiful guys. Well, thank you. We'll see you guys online for the next couple of days, and then obviously we'll be back next week with another show, and we'll keep breaking it down. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Uh,
All right, take it easy.